The United States has now passed the 300,000 death mark related to COVID-19 or the coronavirus. It's a lot of fucking people dead who didn't have to be. Again, that number could have been drastically, exponentially lower if our government actually gave a shit about the people. You know, we're in a pandemic, maybe giving everybody health care, maybe giving everybody money to stay home from work, and those that had to work, making sure these so-called frontline workers are actually compensated as such. All types of things, I mean. And again, it's not, so the title of this article, it never had to be like this, 300,000 dead in U.S. from COVID-19 under Donald Trump. It's not all his fault, okay? Republicans obviously to blame. A lot of Democrats are to blame. I mean, Pelosi now is saying, well, we don't need as expansive of a stimulus now that Biden is elected. What the fuck? No, the economic conditions on the ground for the working class are just as shitty as they were before Election Day. 100-millionaire piece of shit, enemy of the working class, Nancy Pelosi, fuck off. So again, yes, Trump does deserve a good chunk of the blame, but there's a lot to go around. Republicans and Democrats. Again, neither political party supports the best interest of the working class in the United States. And that has been true for quite some time, unfortunately. So this was, yesterday. Wait, less than 4 weeks after the number of COVID-19 deaths in the country reached 250,000. The Associated Press put the staggering statistics into Congress. The number of dead rivals the population of St. Louis or Pittsburgh, is equivalent to repeating a tragedy on the scale of Hurricane Katrina every day for 5.5 months. It is more than 5 times the number of Americans killed in the Vietnam War. It is equal to a 9/11 attack every day for more than 100 days. At the same time, Brian Walter, who lost his 8-year-old father to disease, told NPR that the numbers do not reflect that these were people. Everyone lost was a father or a mother. They had kids, they had family, they left people behind. It's very true. According to COVID-19 tracking project, the U.S. is now averaging nearly 2,430 deaths per day. I mean, for God's sakes. To think now we can just absorb in our country 3,000 deaths a day as though it were just business as usual, it just represents a moral failing. And then the fucking so-called stimulus package that, is a bipartisan support, largely sponsored by corporate Democrats and Republicans, and doesn't even include the measly, means-tested $1,200 stimulus that Sanders and Senator Hawley are fighting for, as they should be. Sanders had earlier in the year came up with this bill that actually Kamala Harris, VP-elect Harris, supported, that called for giving everybody in the U.S. $2,000 a month for the duration of this crisis. Imagine how much lower those numbers could be. People could have been able to stay home, not risk getting infected because they had the money to do so. They were able to still pay their bills. I mean, keep a roof over the head. It's fucking ridiculous. That's Ali Velshi. 18% of the global total. Oops. Go back. The U.S. is 4.25% of the global population. That's like the U.S. Has 25% or so of the world's prison population, yet 4.25% global population. Again, leading the world and being shitty in so many ways. Hashtag America. Hashtag shithole country. Hashtag capitalism is the virus. It's fucking disgusting. It's better understood as a product of several decades of free market ideology and associated with policies that exacerbated inequalities and hampered an effective governmental response to the disaster as it unfolded. And again, it's not just Trump. He He is a symptom of the larger disease that is, capitalism, and both parties are completely beholden to the capitalist class. That's why once that first CARES Act passed, that included, I think it was the first or the second one, the $1,200 stimulus package also was huge, massive giveaways to the very wealthy and their corporate overlords. Everything was just business as usual because their interests were met. So working class you can just go die in the hundreds of thousands. Fuck off. You have no power here. Infections that have already happened or will this week, we will pass 400,000 deaths in January. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, he said that vaccines will help, but if we are serious about meeting the challenge of preventing, we can yeah, no shit, right? Again, it's so fucking easy. Listen to the science. Help people's economic conditions, because tens of millions of people have lost their jobs, no fault of their own, during this pandemic. Emergency UBI, Medicare for all, cancel rent, cancel student loan debt, cancel mortgage payments. Another route would be cover people's wages, but I think the UBI, universal basic income, would be the correct way to go about this. Extend the eviction moratoriums nationwide. Again, there's options abound, but it's very clear vast majority of those in power are unfazed by 300,000 people dying from this virus, and that includes both Democrats and Republicans. Like I pointed out at the beginning of the video, Pelosi said, well, Biden's elected now, so we actually don't need as big of a stimulus plan. So you people are really suffering, the working people, who I have no idea what that's actually like, because I've enriched myself greatly since becoming, Speaker of the House. I'm worth $100 million. I mean, for God's sakes, it's a bipartisan affair. The lack of giving a shit about the working people in this country who are desperately suffering right now, and we're getting shafted once again by both political parties. And I think, frankly, the only way, as Boots Riley points out, to get any type of substantive change that we desperately need on all these different and really important issues in the U.S. is to organize some type of general strike that would hit, multiple sectors of our economy to really bring the capitalist class to its knees. And as a result, the politicians would have to fall in line at that point, because their corporate overlords would tell them to do so, because it's hurting their capitalist bottom line when people withhold their labor, when they strike, when there's wildcat strikes, when people are willing to stand up and break these labor laws to create a more just society and world. And I firmly believe in that analysis by Boots Riley. So again, it's not just Trump. A lot of people have that Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of lives could have been saved if Trump wasn't such a piece of shit. But a huge part of that is also Democrats not willing to stand up and fight for stuff the working class needs, and obviously, Republicans being completely bought and paid for by the corporate interests don't help either. But there's enough blame to go around. Peace, much love. Share your thoughts down below. I gotta go get those sweet potatoes out of the oven. Peace.